Hello, I'm Marianne. I'm an artist working with the Peace Museum to create tasks and challenges which bring their latest exhibition to life. Today, we will be exploring the themes of remembrance and reconciliation and examining some of the resources in the Bombs Away exhibition. As an artist, it's important to do your research and explore and analyse any sources which might inspire your artwork. So, let's get to it. You will all probably know the symbol of the red poppy. The red poppy was chosen as a symbol of remembrance because it grew on the fields where many battles in the First World War took place. All of us will recognise stone and bronze war memorials, like the cenotaph adorned with wreaths of poppies, or this one in Bradford with bronze casts of soldiers. Statues to significant wartime figures can also be found across the country, like this one of Bomber Arthur Harris. It is important to remember lives lost in significant events that took place during wartime, as the common inscription "Lest we forget" reminds us. But when bombs go off in cities, it's not only soldiers that are affected. In addition to the famous red poppy, some people choose to wear white, purple and green poppies. The white poppy is worn to show a commitment to peace and as a symbol of remembrance for all victims of war, soldiers, civilians and non-British victims, to reaffirm the message "never again" after the First World War. Purple poppies remembers the animal victims of war. Horses, dogs and pigeons often aided soldiers in the war effort. Wars, and particularly aerial bombing, have a significant impact on the environment. The green poppy remembers nature as a casualty of war. You can see all 4 types of poppy on this banner from the Peace Museum's collection. While we may all be familiar with traditional war memorials and statues commemorating fallen soldiers, it is less common to see memorials remembering the impact war had on everyday people. This memorial, on the site of St Paul's Cathedral, remembers the work of firefighters in London during the Blitz. In the first 3 weeks alone, London firefighters fought 10,000 fires. You can see the firefighters' poses are mid-action, as if they are putting out a fire. One firefighter looks as if he is shouting, with one arm over his head and another outstretched behind him. This statue reminds me that the Blitz was not just about men in army uniform. It's a story about people who carried out normal jobs in extraordinary circumstances. Close to the cenotaph in Whitehall, London, is another small monument to the women of World War II. You can see 17 bronze sets of clothing and uniform which look as if they are being hung by clothes pegs. These symbolise the hundreds of different jobs taken on by women during World War II. Outfits include a nursing cape, police overalls and a welding mask. In addition to military uniforms, this memorial is significant because where traditional commemoration is very male-dominated, it remembers and recognises the essential role of women in wartime. Finally, we come to this beautiful understated statue, the creation of which in itself was a call for peace, and it has its origins here in Bradford. This statue was first created in 1977 by sculptor Josefina de Vasconcelos, and it was called Reunion. Later, it was unveiled publicly for the first time at the University of Bradford Department of Peace Studies. This statue is so touching because you can see the emotion in the body language of the 2 figures as they reunite. The sculptor said, "This sculpture was originally conceived in the aftermath of war, Europe was in shock. People were stunned. I read in a newspaper about a woman who crossed Europe on foot to find her husband, and I was so moved that I made this sculpture. Then I thought it wasn't only about the reunion of two people, but hopefully a reunion of nations which had been fighting. And this is why she renamed it Reconciliation. Copies of this statue have been placed all around the world, including Ireland, Germany, and Japan. During the war, Japan was both an aggressor and a victim through the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The day Reconciliation was unveiled, the mayor took this opportunity to publicly apologise for the war crimes carried out by Japanese soldiers during the Second World War. Although reconciliation between countries is the ideal, it's a long and difficult process. If someone bullies you and then says sorry, you might not find it easy to forgive them, and you want to be sure that they meant it. Now imagine that, but on the scale of 2 or more whole countries. So, through the story of the Reconciliation statue, you can see the power of remembrance and how commemoration and commemorative events can be linked to peace efforts. Here we will look at the town twinning movement, which originated as an effort to commemorate the destruction of cities after World War II. Coventry in the West Midlands was decimated during the Blitz in 1940. 2 years later, Stalingrad in Russia also faced destruction, and in Britain there was a growing want to send more support to the Russian people. In Coventry, 900 women pledged as little as 6 pence each to send to Stalingrad with the message, "A little help is better than big sympathy." More gifts were sent between the two cities in the years to come, and an agreement was made to become sister cities or twin towns in 1947. Also, in 1959, Coventry twinned with the German city Dresden. The two cities shared a similar story and fate during World War II, which can be seen reflected in the ruins of both cities' cathedrals. Both ruined cathedrals became monuments, symbolising the horrors of aerial bombing. Throughout the 1960s, people from both cities visited each other and helped with rebuilding. Workers from Coventry helped to rebuild hospitals, and people from Dresden helped build the new Centre for Peace and Reconciliation at the new Coventry Cathedral. Links between the two cities are still strong. In 2004, a golden cross, partly paid for by Coventry Cathedral, was made in the UK to adorn the top of the rebuilt cathedral in Dresden. Although town twinning is more often now used to form international business links between two cities, you can see how originally it was an offer of friendship, of reconciliation and understanding between two cultures who may have been former enemies in acts of peace. We've learnt a lot today. Now we've got a challenge for you. I'm going to hand over to my colleague from the Memorial Commission. Hello, I'm Olivia Evans, the head of the Peace Memorial Commission. Today I'm delighted to be launching our latest commission for new statues and memorials commemorating the impact of aerial bombing. The commission is calling on collectives of young artists to design both a new memorial and plan a commemoration event which will take place at the unveiling of the new monument. We expect top-notch research to go into the design for these memorials, so make sure to explore more of the Bombs Away exhibition from our commissioning partner, the Peace Museum. So, as you can see, Remembrance is not only about symbols and monuments, but it can bring together people and places affected by war. It can bring together people across a divide.